So now for us to start, we have to install all the prerequisite things. So we are going to start by making sure that we have Rust installed. So I have already did that in the previous lectures. So you need to run this command. Okay. So I already have that, so I don't need to run it. So I have to remove it. Then after that, there is another command that you need to run in your terminal or command prompt, which is rust of target add, all right, was 32 unknown. So this is used to compile target, which is required by Leptos. So I already installed this also. So after this, we are going to install trunk using cargo. So it is just like a dev server, which we are going to be using in this project. So these are the things needed. So I've already installed this. I already have it working in my machine. So for you to confirm that, first of all, you have to make sure that you have the cargo. So you can see this is the version I'm using as at this date. Then after that, we have trunk. So for you to check also to confirm your installation is done successfully. So you can see I have this version 0.21. This is the latest version as at this date. So now you can see all the requirement. So after we confirm the requirement, next it is for us to create the project. So now I'm going to use cargo. Then new, I can call it inventory app. All right. So this is the name of the project. So I'm just going to hit enter. So the application is created successfully. This is how fast it is. So next, we are going to load it inside IDE. I am using Rust Rover, so you can use the one that is best for you. All right, so now the project is loaded. Next thing to do is you can see this panel, which is the project panel. That's where we have the project and also all the generated files. All right, so now we are going to work on the cargo. All right, so this particular site, we are going to add all the necessary dependencies that we will need. So to do that, come down here, we are going to use Leptos. Okay, so now we are going to add the version. Then we are going to also add the pictures. So the pictures, we are going to use CSR. So after this, we are going to use console error panic hook. So this is meant for displaying error very nicely on the browser when we are developing the Leptos application. So here we are going with 0.1. So we are going to also use UUID. That's another dependency, which is for the table when we are storing record. So we are going to know how we can use it. V4 and also we are going to have JS. So these are the dependencies that we are going to use. So you can see whenever I'm adding the dependencies, the at the background, the compiler system is rebuilding, all right, to make sure that the dependencies are added successfully. All right. So now let us allow it to finish, therefore we can continue. We always do the importation using use. All right. So now we have done the importation. So next thing to do is we need to also import another one, which is the UUID. Okay. So we are also going to use. All right. So these are the things that we need to import. So now let's work on the entry of the project. So here we don't need the print ln. So first we are going to use console. All right. So now this is it, which is going to make this particular line is going to make the debugging very easier. So it is just a browser developer tool. All right. So it always display the error for us. So that's this. Now after this, we are also going to after this, we are now going to create the component that is going to be displayed in the browser. So we use function. All right, so now this is it. So for this to work perfectly, because this is the entry of our project here, so we need to call it. So let's call it inside the entry. Therefore, it will work perfectly for us. All right. So to do that, which is going to be easy because we are using Leptos. So let's use this. All right. So this is the name of the app we created, which is this particular one. So now after doing this, let's now work on the app, that is this function. Therefore, we can add some features on it. All right. So these are the things we want it to display for us. So inside, we are going to create a macro. So this macro is view. All right. So let's call this inventory application. Okay. So now after this, the next thing is, if we like, we can add another HTML tag. So let's say p. So if the project file, let's create HTML file. Therefore, it is now going to display the body. So let's say new HTML. So give it a name of index from this app here. All right, that is from this component. So now we are done with this. The next thing to do is in the main, we are also going to create a struct which is going to be handling the item, that is the inventory item. So we need to start it by adding annotation. Then after that, we are also going to have partial EQ. All right. So in this now, you can see drive annotation is only allowed on struct. So that means we are already intended to create a struct. So the struct we are going to create, as I said earlier, is going to be about the inventory items. So we have struct, then we can call it inventory. So you can see the error is gone now. So we start with the ID, which is UUID. All right. So I'll call it ID. So the next item is going to be the product. So name, which is going to be string. Then after that, we're also going to have quantity, which is going to be this quantity, we can use it to be U32. All right. So this U32, it is just like unsigned 32-bit integer. All right. So it's going to be whole number. Then after that, we are going to have price. So this price is going to be, it's not supposed to be whole number. So we are going to use F64. So this is 64 bits, which is going to have a floating point like this. So now we have this, but currently we are not going to do anything with the struct that we have just created at this moment. All right, so now after doing this, let's try to run this program. Therefore, we can be able to see what it contains. So to do that, we need to open terminal. So in the terminal, we are going to use trunk, which we have installed recently. So trunk serve. So that is our server. So let's hit enter. Therefore, we can monitor it if there's any error. So let's wait until the building is complete. All right, so you can see that it is done successfully. Now, the moment this has finished, it's supposed to automatically open the result. It is supposed to load this URL on the browser immediately for you. If it doesn't, so you now copy this URL and now paste it in your browser. All right, so it has already opened directly in my own. So you can see this is the output. Inventory application, then we have the paragraph, all right, which is this particular one that we created inside the app, that is this content. All right, so we are going to stop here. See you in the next lecture.